Hello my friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink with another set of cards for this year's holiday card series. I pulled out the Simon Says Stamp Sweater Weather embossing folder and coordinating die set. And I die cut the Mittens wafer dies from the set from white cardstock. And at first I thought I might have to tape them into place in this embossing folder, but it's a simple shape. It's not finicky like some of the other ones where it's, really thin little branches and leaves and those sorts of things. So I die cut them first. I pop them into the folder and I ran them through my die cut machine. And for me, I have my Spellbinders Platinum 6, the original platform, and 2 metal shims. And that's like my perfect combo for Simon's embossing folders. You always have to check with what machine you're using. The listing with the products has different sandwich recommendations for these folders. Again, it depends on the person, the machine, what folders you're using, etc. But that's my go-to. So I did that twice because I thought, while I got everything out, why not do more than one card? So I've got my adorable little textured mittens, which just, I don't know what it is about them. I love it. I absolutely love it. So cute. And then the other embossing folder I used is my current obsession, the Fir Tree Branches embossing folder. This one comes in the December 2022 card kit from Simon Says Stamp. Just, again, FYI, because if you're getting the kit or you got the kit, same embossing folder. I just thought it would make a cute background for these cards. So I embossed panels of the same smooth white cardstock with that embossing folder. Now, for my little mittens, I decided to go with pinks because I was just in a pink mood. Why not? So I'm using Simon's Positively Saturated inks, and I'm using Bubblegum, Sweets, and Taffy. Bubblegum being the lightest, so that's what I'm starting with. And I'm using just a blending brush, blending that onto all of these, not worried about getting perfection, anything. Just need to get the color on there. I've got a little bit of Post-it tape on my fingers just to prevent me from getting fingerprints everywhere. More so because I'm working on a gloss mat. My concern is I just tend to get, I'll get ink on my fingers and then I smear it onto white cardstock. It happens. So the Post-it tape is my little security blankie. So after I did the bubblegum, the medium color was Sweets, and I blended that halfway down roughly. And then the final one is that Taffy, which I just barely used just to kind of deepen right around the wrist area of these little mitts. So then I wiped off my glass mat so I don't have pink ink all over the place. And then I'm using Simon's Field Positively Saturated ink. And you can't see this on camera, but I am using the lightest pressure while I'm blending. I've sped this up in editing, but I'm not pressing the brush at all. It's almost floating on the cardstock. And I just wanted to get a really pale, soft, light blend. I just wanted to add a bit of green to the background. Nothing too crazy. So just a light blend kind of from the upper left corner, and I pulled it down. And of course the ink will pick up on those raised embossed edges, and that's fine. I like how it gives it that little extra something, but I wanted it to just fade nicely. So once I was done my blending off camera, I cut those panels down, and then I had die cut some pine branches from some green cardstock, and I have another strip of that same green cardstock, and I used my anti-static powder tool on that. And I'm going to stamp some sentiments from the Christmas Blessings set that I love this set. This is a good holiday stamp set. And I also love, even though it's a bit hefty of a price, but so worth it, is the coordinating wafer dies for this one. Love it. Love it. Anyway, I used my anti-static powder tool. I stamped the sentiments onto that cardstock, coated them with detail white embossing powder. Then I'm going to melt these with my heat tool. Once they're melted, I'll wipe off the anti-static powder and I will die cut them with the coordinating wafer dies. So got those melted, die cut, and then like I said, I had die cut that same green cardstock with Simon's Pine Needle Trio wafer dies. Kind of like, oh, I love these ones too. These came out years ago. I don't even remember when they came out. They've been out forever, but perfect to pull out for all things Christmas, in my opinion. So I adhered those to the like upper portion of these panels, just using a bit of craft tacky glue. And then I had cut some dull pink cardstock to slightly larger than these panels, just to frame it up real nice and to bring in more of that pink. Like I was in a pink mood. My previous video was the blue poinsettias, so that was like the blue mood. Then I was in the pink mood. Who knows what the next color will be? I honestly have no clue yet. We'll see when I make it and post it for you guys. So anyway. And stay tuned. I have a ton of videos coming, like working on them. So anyway, for the mittens, I had this whole idea, like this, it was just a vague idea in my head, and then it just came to fruition. Is attaching these mittens with a little string. I wish they would still do this. I need to get like really long, like to attach all my kids' mitts to strings, cause hello, we go through so many pairs of mitts around here, and they lose them all the time. You know how you'd have the string through the whole jacket and your sleeves? Need to bring that back. But anyway, I attached baker's twine to my mitts. And you can see there I kind of figured out my placement. I attached the baker's twine. Originally, I was going to, tie them in a bow and then use the ends and like thread them through somehow. And then I was like, no, this is what I got going here is probably the easiest. So I just attached the baker's twine to the back of the little mittens with some craft tacky glue and then just some washi tape just to hold everything down. And then I attached the little mitts to each other with just some thin foam squares. And then pop this over, put more thin foam squares on that same mitten. And then the other one, I'm just putting some craft tacky glue. So these will be good and adhered. And again, in my head as I was doing this, at first I was like, I'll just tie a bow separately and I will glue it to that top area, where it's supposed to be hanging from. That's what I was going to, but then I was like, I really hate tying bows with like twine or string or anything like that, like just on their own, not attached to anything. It is finicky and it's not fun. Plus I was like, and then I'm going to have to like glue it and it takes forever to glue dry. This is better. I haven't done this in forever. This used to be a thing. That's like piercing cards. I remember that. All our like piercing templates that we used to do on cards like 15 years ago. I don't know why I was thinking about that when I was doing this. I'm like, ooh, and all the sewing. Although sewing on cards is still a thing. I just haven't done it in forever. But anywho, I threaded some baker's twine through one of my just huge needles that I keep in my craft space. And I pierced a couple holes using just my die pick, so they're big enough for the needle to thread through. And I threaded the baker's twine right through that card panel there and tied it in a knot. So the bow ain't going anywhere. It was easier to tie it in a bow, and I don't have to fiddle with any adhesive. And I made sure to put the holes above and below the little piece that holds the mittens. So everything is now attached. So the mittens aren't going to fall off. They're hanging from those branches. They're not going anywhere. So I did the exact same thing with the second card front. I adhered the sentiment with the same thin foam squares. On the insides of the cards, I'm stamping another sentiment from the Christmas Blessings set. I kind of wanted to go with ones that went with the mittens. So the inside says warm Christmas blessings. And I was like, that kind of suits it, So I stamped that with the sweets, the middle color of the Pawsitively Saturated Ink Trio that I used for the ink blending. So I stamped that on the inside. I reinforced the score line in the fold of these cards. These are top folding A2 size cards, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I adhered these card front panels to the card bases with craft tacky glue. Once these are adhered, like I always say, you could stop here. But of course I'm going to add bling. And of course I went through my multiple lifetime stash and found bling that coordinated quite nicely, if I do say so myself. This is some Little Things by Lucy's cards. These are soft fuchsia mix pearls. And again, I'm glad I bought them because they went perfect. So sprinkle those around the card and then adhered those into place with little dabs of craft tacky glue. Once those are adhered, I'm going to pair these cards with some dull pink envelopes, and that's going to finish them off. So I've got, I don't know, just a fun like pink, green, white color combo. The texture from these embossing folders is just like, again, mwah, chef's kiss. Absolutely love it. I can't get over it. Like the mitten like weave texture, the knit texture, love. And then just the more subtle texture of the background. Got a little bit of baker's twine in there, a bit of bling, just fun times. So as always, I will have a link below the video to my blog post. I will have a supply list. I'll link to all the supplies I used. You can check that out in the description box below the video if you are interested. I will also have a link to my holiday playlist that I will keep adding to as I get videos posted. And like I said, stay tuned. I have a whole bunch more coming. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye!